Hello and welcome to the Fourth Wall Conversation. My name is Wintana and I will be your host. Here in this space, we talk about all things spiritual, transformative, and everyday steps that you can take towards your health and wellness. So today, I'd like to talk about this fake positivity. And a lot of people are tired of it. They're tired. And then I guess my question for you on your healing journey is, are you actually healing or are you repressing your old self? So when we are finding out more about ourselves and advancing as people, we start to notice parts about ourselves that we don't like, and which is a good thing, because then what is the point of us getting better moving forward in life if we don't even have that self-awareness to begin with, right? So even with myself in the beginning of my spiritual journey, I noticed that I listened to Abraham Hicks a lot, and I would binge listen to her whenever I was feeling low. And a lot of the common themes that I've learned through listening to a lot of these self-help people, spiritually enlightened beings, channeled messages, is that the law of attraction, whatever you think, you become. And so a lot of people are scared to sort through their old repressed emotions. They don't want to do the shadow work, essentially, because they're afraid that if they are in that state for a very long time, then they will start attracting that is causing them ill. But that's not true. See, when you are trying to build a new life for yourself and you haven't done the work internally, that can only get you so far, right? This fake it till you make it business is not always going to work in your favor. Like, yeah, you can fake it until you make it, but there's just a certain level of being genuine with yourself. Like, if you are having a terrible day and it's because you got broken up with a week ago and you're trying to go through these emotions, don't be like, no, I need to be happy, and repress those emotions. That's not going to get you very far. You want to work through these emotions. What are these emotions telling me? That way they don't have to keep resurfacing, you see? So let's go back to this. So when we are advancing, right, as beings, as spiritual beings, as enlightened beings, which, it sounds silly to say spiritual beings. A lot of people forget that we are that. And they become stuck in the 3D. Everything is just on the material realm. They don't see things beyond it. But when we have a defined vision for ourselves, a goal, like I did when I was in the trenches, in the mental trenches, and I made a manifestation board, a vision board, and I saw all the things that I was lacking in. It was healthy to a degree. And so I would show up as her every single day, but I wasn't handling the business, the inner business. And it's essentially like you are, like, I'm going to use this phone analogy for an example. Like, you have an iPhone 6 and is trying to update to iOS 16. It literally can't, because the hardware itself can't get the new software. It's just like you have to upgrade. You can see how this could be problematic, where you're trying to advance, but your old programs, the way that you have built your belief system, won't let you, because you have to upgrade internally a lot of the programs, the beliefs. So that way, when you are introduced to this new lifestyle, it doesn't feel foreign. You don't have this clash. Like, you can see how that could cause a lot of turmoil, where you're like, I am faking it so bad that I'm not even making it. I don't believe this. Your subconscious mind is literally like, what are you doing? You're like, consciously you're saying the affirmations, I am so happy, everything is going my way, everything is going great. But these are empty words. You're not involving your heart in it. You're not involving your whole self into it. It's almost like you're just speaking. Yet your subconscious is like, dude, you literally talk about how awful life is every single day. You think I'm gonna sit here and believe you? No, that's not happening. And it's not you, trust me. When we have so much old baggage and we don't sort through it and we just pile it, think of like how a hoarder gets to where they are. It's because they don't sort through what they already have, yet they keep inviting things in and thinking like, oh, this will be my savior, this will make me feel better, this will make me feel better. And meanwhile, there's a whole room full of stuff that they haven't sorted through in years. And the next thing won't make them happy either. The only thing that would make a change in this person's life is if they actively, one by one, sorted things out. And then that goes back to like people being afraid of sorting through these emotions because they're like, oh no, I'm going to be attracting bad things into my life if I sit here and think about it and think about the trauma and think about how this person did me wrong and think about I am going to attract it. And that is not true. I need you to think of this shadow work as very important work in order for you to advance to be the best version of yourself, to be the highest version of yourself. Because how can you move forward when these things keep rising up? They're unresolved. The more unresolved that they are, the more they're going to keep popping up. And then your frequency, your core frequency, the being of who you are, you're not going to be who you want to be. Because there's obviously something rising, unresolved. And so this also, you know how they say fake it till you make it, right? It goes hand in hand with, if you are familiar with the universal laws, the law of correspondence, which you must basically be it. AKA fake it till you make it, I guess. But faking it until you make it is different than the law of correspondence. The law of correspondence is basically like, this is the life that you want to live, and this is where you are. You must match it at the same frequency. Therefore, once you match it, then it will become the new reality. And so when you are always trying or wanting to do something, to be something, this is a completely different state from being. Being is effortless. It is. But to want to try and want, and it's almost as if you are trying, yet you can't get to this destination because your act is to try and to want rather than be. And you can see how energetically the universe is going to get that message and think, oh, okay, well, this person is clearly having fun. They're in the waiting room. They're wanting, they're trying, yet they're not where they want to be. And of course, when people say act delusional, it's true. I think that acting delusional is very important, because if we were to act from where we are now every single day, thinking the same thoughts, not even having a vision that makes us nervous, that makes us feel like, what am I doing? That makes us feel like I think I am making the right step forward, then we will not be living a life that anybody wants to live, especially not you. Being delusional is important, but then again, the question is, how do we become delusional when we feel like an imposter, like a fraud? Well, let's do this. Let's take it back. So, how do we become delusional? Well, you have to feel comfortable first in order to feel delusional. And when I say comfortable, I'm saying it in a sense of, we need to get out of our head. Get out of your head. Meditate. And when I say meditate, I don't mean like sit there and just, no. you. Meditation could be different for anybody. I need you to get out of your element. I need you to stop these negative thinking patterns that you always have. I need you to get out of this state of worry and fear and stress, because the more that we have these things present in our lives, the more resistance that there is, and we're living in scarcity and lack. And as you can see, being delusional goes hand in hand with abundance mindset at times. The abundance mindset is where we are trying to be. That is where we are working our way up to. So, how do we become delusional? How do we become delusional? We become delusional by letting go. Being in a state of flow, dance, art, music, doing things that make you feel your most you. Go for a walk. That is a form of meditation, walking meditation. Take a bath. In a way, this is disconnecting, but also being very present within your body, to where your mind wanders in a healthy way, when you're not being battered down by, oh, the bills, and oh my goodness, and oh, I might get fired, and oh, there's so many things that we could, as people, and rightfully so, worry about every single day. I mean, I feel like anxiety and depression, all these things have gotten a lot worse over the years. I mean, there's definitely been a good amount of it forever, and for various reasons, for good reasons. I mean, look at the current state of affairs for everything around us, the wars and whatnot, right? But I say that to say this: when we are actively taking ourselves out of our negative thinking behaviors and patterns, that is when we start to that's when we start to feel more abundant. That's when we start to feel more like us, more creative, more just juicy deliciousness. That is life. Life is here to please you. Let it please you. And a lot of people have, and I don't mean to say this to offend people, but some people don't want to get better. Can you believe that? They complain all the time about how awful their life is, yet they don't want to get better. Have you ever had someone come up to you and they're like, hey, I can't believe this person did, and you're like, oh, okay. And you have a solution. And you realize that this person comes to you with this this person comes up to you with the same, what do they come you with? They come to you with this problem all the time. And you give them solid advice like, hey, I think you might be taking things a little personal. And I think that it'd be in your best interest to maybe not take things so personal. That way that you're saving yourself and energetically, and you're creating those boundaries and not letting those people get to you. And they quickly stop you and they're like, no, but and they keep going off and off. And it's like, okay, well, I guess advice is not needed here. Some people, they just don't want to get better. And it's not their fault. They've just been conditioned to appreciate drama. They say they hate it, but drama always finds these people. It's a program, and some people show time and time, their efforts show that they don't want to change. Okay, so are you healing yourself, or are you repressing the old parts of yourself? So how do we know that we are repressing certain parts of ourselves, certain aspects of ourselves? How do we know that this life that we're living right now is that we're healing? Well, to heal is a journey. No one ever is going to be 100% healed. There's always going to be life. And that is not to say that it's going to be traumatic every moment of the way, but it is to say that things will always come up where you will get triggered, but when you are healing, those triggers don't come out as rash. They don't come out as often, and sometimes it takes a lot to trigger you. And that is when you know I might be on the right journey. I might be on the right path, and I think I might be doing something good for myself. That is when you know you are healing certain aspects of yourself. If you find yourself becoming triggered easily, then I think we're gonna have to talk about that. When you become triggered that someone cut you off, it's normal. I do it all the time. I'm like, how can this person do this? I am letting all these people go in front of me. I am being so genuine. I'm being so nice to everyone. And this guy, this mother, the audacity. And no one on planet Earth is never, ever going to die without a trigger. But it's more or less like the next time someone cuts me off, I'm just like, okay, well, this person is obviously in a rush to get things done. They have a lot on their mind. And I try to sympathize with those people, or empathize, rather than to point my finger at them. Because the thing about pointing a finger at somebody, you have 1, 2, 3 fingers pointing back at you. My 6th grade teacher taught me that, and I was like, man, she's deep. But it's true, right? So, are we healing ourselves, or are we repressing? Are we silencing those parts of ourselves? And there's a difference between silencing, because the thing is, let me rephrase that. When we silence those parts of ourselves, once they disintegrate, then we have this new us emerging. But when we clearly are triggered all the time, we are always in our emotions, we always get little things that we always are involved with drama, we are always upset with little things. And then we're in the same breath saying that we're healing. Everyone's healing journey is different. So I really can't say what yours looks like. I don't know what you started off with. But for me, when I was awful. I'm not going to lie. I would drink my emotions away, and that in turn, have you ever been around an angry drunk? Have you ever been around an emotionally challenged drunk? And then going back into the real world after I decided to stop, I noticed that there was so much healing to do. And it's been a crazy few years for me. And I notice that there's always a resistance between me and my triggers. But it's the fact that I'm aware of these things. The more that you are aware and the more that you are vulnerable to learning about yourself, the more that you are not afraid to ask for feedback from the people that you love, that you've wronged, asking for forgiveness, the more state of harmony you'll be in. And honestly, sometimes it is hard to be vulnerable. But journaling has been very vital. Like, talking to yourself is important, because you are your best friend, also your worst enemy. And it's like, who do you want to have by your side? Do you want to wake up and you feel terrible and the voice is like, what's the point of trying today? You failed yesterday. You suck. This voice is in the background, chattering, telling you that you're not worthy, that you're not good enough, that what are you doing? Like, there's a million people doing that. What makes you different? Or would you rather have the voice that's actively like, you know what? Today is going to be great. And we can find gratitude even though we are not feeling very happy right now. What is it that we are feeling abundant and grateful for? And these two voices will always chatter. They'll have back and forth conversations, but it's like, who are you more drawn to? And which voice will help you throughout the day, throughout your life, to become the best version of you, you know? Let's actually get into certain ways that we can heal ourselves. So, aside from journaling, when someone says that, just journal, and they don't give you prompts, that could be a little frustrating. Although I can give you a few things that you can actually do some introspection work on. The next time that you find yourself triggered, I want you to ask yourself this. What part of me did not like that? What emotion was that, and what is that rooted to? Now I want you to go back and think, was this because I was the last picked on the dodgeball team every single time? Was it because that person was inconsiderate, just like how my siblings were growing up? Was it because I was not getting the attention that I wanted, and it reminded me that every single time I wanted attention from my mom or my dad, that they were busy doing something? I want you to get deep into it, because the closer that you can get to the root problem as to why you're feeling this way, the better chance it is that you have more sympathy with yourself, more empathy and sympathy towards yourself the next time something does happen where you do feel like you might get triggered. Okay, now let's talk about some beliefs. I want you to visit some beliefs. And so what are beliefs? Essentially, they are what we have been told growing up. They take on a life of their own once we grow, and we don't switch them out for something that is relevant. So let's say that you were really clumsy growing up. You were constantly dropping glasses, spilling milk. Like, your parents literally would spank you in return for your accident as a child. And so because every single time you spilled milk or something happened, you would get so angry with yourself. I'm so clumsy. What is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? And this is your reaction to something so small. So your parents, they said that to you because they probably had their own thing going on. Like, maybe they had mental problems, or maybe they were just really having a bad day, or maybe they're just very stressed out. Maybe they never really were talked to kindly themselves growing up, so of course they're regurgitating what they know. And now they pass it on to you. And because you're aware of this reaction that you just had, oh God, I'm so dumb. What is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? In that moment, I want you to ask yourself, what is it about me that says this? I am whole. I want you to alchemize these emotions. I am whole. I am human. I'm allowed to make mistakes. I'm still alive. I have all my limbs. Hopefully you didn't cut your finger off because you dropped some glass. But, I mean, really, nothing bad happened. The world is still working the way that it was beforehand. It was just a moment. And these are kind of like little things in our belief systems where we never really go back and figure out, like, why is it that I feel this way? The next time you do find something triggering, I need you to ask yourself why, instead of going off pure emotion, which can be hard, but that is the work within itself, is you catching yourself, feeling the way that you do, asking yourself why, and then finding a solution, finding a better way to handle that. And that is the healing that needs to take place. You can show up as her all you want, but when you're not really getting your hands dirty into the root of why it is that you behave the way that you do, you are going to subconsciously keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting the same results. And what did Albert Einstein say? That is a definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So if you don't feel like writing triggers, again, let's go back to beliefs. So the common themes that people have in certain aspects in their lives are, okay, let's talk about like career wise, right? I'm not smart enough to get this job. Why would anyone pay me for my expertise? A whole bunch of people already are doing it. I don't have the right skills, or it's too late to change careers. Let's talk about money. Money is evil. Or that saying, you can put a camel through a needle of an eye before putting a rich man into heaven. What? Don't even get me started there. That's such propaganda to keep people poor, but I don't deserve to have money, or I feel guilty for having money. There are people in the streets with no money, and here I am. I'll never be rich. I am just barely making it. Okay? Relationships. I don't deserve to have someone that loves me. I will never find someone that loves me for who I am, or all the good ones are taken. Are any of these sounding familiar? Health and wellness. I'll never be able to lose weight. It doesn't matter what I do, I always keep coming back to this size. I don't have the time or energy to take care of myself. I'll never be my desired weight. Or personal growth and development. I'm not capable of learning new things. I just can't. I'm not worthy of success. I'll never be able to change. It doesn't matter what I do. I will always be the same. Okay. Even saying those things out loud was a little bit like, now I'm going to have to come back and rephrase those things. So when you have these limiting beliefs, what do you think the quality of your life is going to be like? Do you think that you'll ever find a career that you actually enjoy and love? Do you think that you'll ever have the right amount of money? Do you think that you'll manifest the right career ever? Do you think that you'll ever manifest the right partner into your life? Do you think that you'll ever have the body that you want? Do you think that you will ever grow as a person if you have these limiting beliefs? I will vote no. There's a certain amount of priming that you have to do and reconditioning that you have to do when you have these thoughts. And it's something that I do too, like, hey, you know what? I'm human. I do have moments where I'm like, what's the point? Ugh, what's the point? No one wants to listen to me. Nobody cares about what I have to say. And then I turn that around. Imagine if Steve Jobs gave up what he was doing. Imagine if the inventor of the light bulb gave up doing what he was doing. Like, there are so many people in history that if they gave up sooner than they did, and if they let other people's vision define their beliefs and their vision, they would not make it that far. We would not have light. We would not have airplanes. These limiting beliefs are the reason why a lot of people are not who they need to be. And here's the thing, like, have you ever gone to the gym and you are like, you know what? I need to lose this weight and I'm going to get my meal preps on point. I'm going to cook dinner at home. Breakfast is going to be healthy. Lunch is going to be great. Like, I am about to wake up at 6 a.m. You start doing the thing. You drink a whole bunch of water. You get your routine on point, right? And then, like, day 14 comes along and you're like, I don't know if this life is for me. And then the excuses start to settle in. And you're like, you know what? See, I was never meant to lose weight. No. It's because it's an identity that you formed around these beliefs, these limiting beliefs. And here's the thing, because for me, when I first started working out and stuff, I would look at myself in the mirror on day 3, like, what? Where the fat is not, it's not gone. It's still there. A week goes by. I am still the same size. But these things take consistency. And a lot of people base their belief on vision. Like, I will see it when I believe it. And that belief within itself is flawed. If you were to believe something when you see it, when it's already manifested, I just want you to think about this one. For you to believe it when you see it, you will never see it then. I'm sorry. That's a Newtonian idea where you believe it when you see it. You have to have the vision in your brain because everything is created twice. Once in the mind, second in physical reality. Think about that one, okay? So anyways, how do we alchemize these beliefs? I want you to have evidence for all the good that you have seen in these areas of your life, of your career, money, relationships, health and wellness, personal growth. I want all the evidence of all the good that has came from your career. My career has helped me pay for my rent this month. That is awesome. My skills have gotten me so far in life that I can now do this and that and that. Start seeing the good in things. These limiting beliefs, after you condition your mind to not think about them, they will go away eventually. You just have to be strong enough to defeat these limiting beliefs. That is the healing work. That is the healing work that we need to work on, is replacing these beliefs. Because as a person that is not confident in themselves versus someone who is confident in themselves and doesn't even have the skills, because they are delulu, because they're delusional enough, they will get that job. They will get that life that you want. But you are so hard on yourself that you cannot energetically align to what it is that you want. And so part of the healing work revolves around having a growth mindset. And you know, it's gonna take a while for the ball to start rolling, where you start to not feel like a fraud. When you start saying things like, I can't do it. I can't do it. You need to start replacing those things with I'm learning. Humanize yourself. Talk to yourself as you would a child, your best friend, like a visitor, someone that you love. And watch how your world changes. Really. When you start to say, I'm not good at this. What's the point? Be nice, be kind to yourself. I'm still learning. I can get better at this. I tried and I can get better at this. When you tell yourself, I'm too old to do this, start saying it's never too late. You're too old. What? There are people that are like 50 and just graduated college. Or people that are like, it's too late. I can't do this. It's going to take me 8 years. Okay, and 8 years from now, you're still going to be in a similar position, wishing that you would have made that move. Or when you say, I give up. This is too much for me. I want you to start saying, I'll try this a different way. Don't be so defeated. Instead of being like, this is too much, tell yourself, I just need a break and I'll try again. Do you see how we alchemize these emotions? Because we are powerful individuals, we have the option to turn this muck into something better. Or when people say, I don't know how to, I'm learning. It's all about being kinder to yourself in the process of this healing journey. It's when you start being upset with yourself for having emotions, that's not going to get you anywhere, right? And so I will leave this conversation by asking you, are you healing yourself, or are you repressing your old self? Thank you for listening to my podcast, and I'll see you guys next week. If you enjoyed this, please give it a like, share it, and I hope you gain something positive from this. Some insight, if you will. I'll see you guys around. Take care.